Too much B2B content feels safe and forgettable, but today's guest proves it doesn't have to be. Kristina Keene, Director of Brand and Content at Flip, is the force behind their all caps, all heart voice. From a lightning fast rebrand to turning a bot into a LinkedIn cult favorite. We'll unpack how she built a brand that feels human in an AI world and what every marketer can learn from it. Let's pass the mic. Hey y'all, welcome to the ClearVoice mic, short for Marketers in Conversation. I'm Taylor Moon, Director of Content at ClearVoice, and today I'm joined by Kristina Keene. She's the Director of Brand and Content over at Flip. We're going to pass the mic and see where the conversation takes us. Kristina.
Hiya.
How are you?
I am so good. It's a Friday and we're both alive and
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good day to be a day.
It's a good day to be a day. I'm stealing that.
Do it. I don't know where I'm sure that I heard it on some other podcast because I'm a podcast junkie. So I don't know where it came from, but like the second I heard it, I was like, yeah,
I'll take that.
it's a good day to be a day. Absolutely. Let's do this.
Well, I love it. And I have to say, I always like people to intro themselves because some people may know you, they may not know you. We've connected before, found each other kind of through LinkedIn, if you will, and you're definitely known on LinkedIn. If anyone hasn't seen you, I don't know how, but you're doing amazing things at Flip. You have a very interesting background as well. I'd love for you to just introduce yourself a little bit and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, well, let's start with that interesting background. So I started my career in nonprofit arts fundraising during the Great Recession. Don't Google what that number is because I don't need to feel old on top of everything, but I started there and it taught me to be shameless and ask literally anyone for anything. And I had gotten my undergrad in English, so I knew how to write, I knew how to think critically. And when I decided that, I loved nonprofit fundraising, but I also knew I didn't want to live in my car, so I had to get a job that paid the bills. So it was a natural transition into marketing and writing, and I started just collecting skills at each different startup that I worked in, and now I'm a creative jellyfish. And
I love that.
yeah, and it's made me kind of perfect for startup life because I can do a lot of different things and switch contexts really easily. I can switch from graphic design to web to writing to yelling on LinkedIn, all in the space of an hour. I have been telling people lately that I have developed ADHD from startup life because that's really what it is a lot of context switching rapidly and doing lots of different things and getting your hands dirty in lots of different things. And I'm having a really good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people can find me on LinkedIn. I yell a lot. I do.
I
I
feel
just
like
yell a lot.
when you say yell, though, I want to preface she's not yelling. Maybe the occasional all caps is in there, but in a very lighthearted way.
Yes. Yeah, it's like my one of my things on LinkedIn is on Fridays yelling nice things. That's it. It's so simple. Just yell something nice. Like I'm going to have a milkshake for dinner tonight. Why wouldn't I put that in all caps?
I think I forget. I think I was like, I did say something, and you do Mondays too, which is more of like a
Monday is
motivational
Manifest Monday.
manifest Monday,
So,
and
yeah, little witchy.
I definitely have participated in that for sure.
Mhm.
And I know this because I commented, I think it was a couple Mondays ago. And I was like, I will try not to cry for the rest of the day. I'm manifesting not crying more because I just dropped my daughter off at preschool. And you're
Oh,
like, you got this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, but yeah, it's all about that community. And you're very, very active. And not yelling, but very prominent in the LinkedIn community.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like what I want my LinkedIn presence to be is just like bouncy hugs. You know, when you see a friend that you haven't seen in a while and you get to see them in person and you just give them a great big hug and you're both bouncing and you're just like happy to be there. That's what I want LinkedIn to be.
That's what it
Like,
should be. It could be. It
yeah,
could be
it could
very
be.
opposite if we
Yeah,
allow it to be.
yeah.
That's
And
for sure.
yeah, LinkedIn has been cringe for such a long time and it doesn't have to be anymore. So instead
No,
of cringe, it's bouncy hugs
I
um
love that.
and
And
yelling in all caps.
okay, so on that note, I want to pick your brain a little bit. So you please correct me if I'm wrong, but when you came in to Flip, am I mistaken that you really took in and shaped the brand like
Yeah.
quickly? And when I say quickly, are we talking like a week or two?
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
when I joined the company's name was Red Route. And if you do like a what is it, the Wayback Machine and look at redroute.com, awful branding. It was this really ugly kind of like brick red, and the name was Red Route. And the company had started in the transportation space, so automating calls for taxi companies. And when I think red and route, I think, oh, I don't want to go that way because there's heavy traffic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
the connotation isn't good. And they
Branding was
also
off.
had the branding was off, and they also had this robot that looked like he was on steroids. Like it just was not, there was nothing cute or friendly about it. And I looked at this and I'm like, we have a great product, we have a perfect product market fit, and you guys want to give me autonomy. So I onboarded myself really quickly. And right after I started, they said, like, let's get the whole team in San Diego for a week. And the first day in San Diego, I cornered the CEO and I said, we have to rebrand and we have to do it right now. I am not building out a content engine until we have a brand that actually like fits the brand and where we want to take things.
It
And
resonates, yeah.
yeah, and resonates, and like it's fun and it has the spirit that we want the company to have in this market.
Hmm.
And props to Brian and Sam because they said yes to this crazy idea. And we they said yes, but they threw in the caveat of, we're going to say yes to this rebrand, but you have 3 months to pull it off. So a
Right.
process that should have taken closer to a year, we did in 3 months. And I
Wow.
didn't sleep that entire summer, but
I was
now
about to
we
say.
have, yeah, it was chaos, but it
All the
was,
branding folks are like, whew. I mean, yes, can
yeah,
do that, but that not ideal. I
shouldn't,
can like hear the
can
like.
but shouldn't. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I of course was just like, okay, hell yeah, let's do it. And we have Flip now, and it's funny because the first iteration of the Flip bot, this is a testament to how quickly we did things. We're a voice AI company. We automate support calls. We resolve support calls. It's all very conversational and cool. And the first of a design of the robot that was out in the world, the robot didn't have a mouth. Um, so
Sorry, that's pretty funny.
yeah, yeah. It was honestly, it was kind of fun because it was like it took months for me to realize, oh my god, our robot doesn't have a mouth. We need to redesign the robot. And, we did this rebrand 6 months ago. And we already need to like redo some things.
Refresh.
Yeah. And, I made a silly little video of like, and I hyped it up like, oh, we're going to do this big reveal. The big reveal is coming. And then I had our head of talent and people just post this video of Flip getting a makeover, and all of a sudden it had a mouth. just very silly and fun. And it speaks to like, one, y- don't go so fast during a rebrand process, but also two, your brand doesn't have to be like static. Like, you can evolve the brand even after you've just done a rebrand. It can be an ever evolving, ever living thing.
As it should
um,
be.
yeah,
I feel like we have this like perfectionist, don't we all, tendency. It's like, "Ah, we did it, but is it ever? No, because you're gonna notice something, you're gonna learn something, right? Like, so something's gonna change, uh,
yeah,
and that's fine. Yeah,
yeah,
but I love
that's fine.
how quickly you moved, and to go back a little bit on your kind of all caps, if you will. I feel like that also, if I'm mistaken, do tell me, but I feel like that also kind of got integrated a little bit into Flip
Yeah,
specifically. Where did you start kind of defining that all caps, all heart, if you will, like voice?
I love this question. So as Flip evolved, I I got the team actually at Flip got a little smaller on the marketing side, and suddenly I was managing a lot more. And that included our entire social presence. And when that happened, I said, you know what? We are just going to focus on LinkedIn. We're just going to do LinkedIn because that's where our buyers are. That's
Are
where they get their information. And like, the brands that we work with, they may be selling things on Instagram and TikTok, but that's not where a CX director is looking for a solution like ours. So I'm going all in on LinkedIn. And my idea for the bot specifically has always been that Flip the bot, I wanted to be the cutest robot on the internet. I want us to be the most human AI company out there, and Flip to be this representation of this adorableness and the silliness that is inherent in our brand. And so I one day was just like, and I'm gonna swear here, and if you have to bleep it out,
no, you're fine.
yeah. So I just said, like, fuck it. I'm gonna have this little bot just yelling happy, nice, silly things on LinkedIn, and we're just going to see if that works. It was a throwing spaghetti at the walls moment. And so Flip actually started it. And of course, everybody's using AI for their socials right now. And we're an AI company that doesn't use AI for our socials. It's all me. So
Mm.
Flip's just out there yelling, and it started to catch on. And I'm like, huh, well, maybe if I also incorporate this in my personal brand, and then Flip is also yelling in the comments of not only my
Yep.
posts, but partners' posts, brands' posts, just is running amok and yelling nice things. Like, we might have something here. And it's been so much fun because flip the voice of the bot has turned into my most unhinged self. So a great example of this is yesterday. So I have a newsletter, and it's called Goats for the Goats, and it's quite literally just a newsletter where I send out a goat gif every week. It's it's silly, it's stupid, it's fun, and it's very, like, human. It's like a hug.
Mhm.
Humans love baby goats. We do,
Who
because
doesn't
they're
love a
cute.
goat?
Right. Like, who doesn't love a cute goat? And why wouldn't you want to see that on LinkedIn? But I also talked about this illness that I've had the rest of this week. And Flip, because it's a separate thing in my brain, Flip just commented in all caps, "Don't die." That's it. That's it. Just don't die. Um, and it's that I have the autonomy to be able to comment
Yeah.
things like that. Is It's just it's a brand person's dream.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
yeah, this brand is
Oftentimes there's very
Yeah.
many rules, like, like you
Yep.
name it. And sometimes for a reason, sometimes it's just the way it is, unfortunately. But the autonomy is, I feel like, a brand and creatives like dream
Yeah.
paradise, if you will. Absolutely. I want to pick more here with
Yeah.
you. There's so many things I could ask, but one thing that really sticks out to me, and I think a change I've seen just within the market holistically, regardless, I mean, certain industries more so, but pretty much agnostic, if I really look industry wise, is there is a massive shift, specifically, yes, on LinkedIn, but if you think about businesses, specifically B2B, where are most people going to be? LinkedIn. So you hit on something really a prominent in my mind, where it's like, stop trying to be everywhere. Where do we need to be? And in this case, it's LinkedIn. Hey, if you're B2C and like, yeah, we got to be over here. We got to be on Instagram. That's our brand. But does it make sense for you? So that first and foremost. But another thing you really pointed out is the kind of shift from brands and personal brands. So
Yeah.
how you're able to utilize your own personal brand to talk broadly, but how that brings awareness all back to Flip. That's how I found out about Flip. Uh, I'm obviously not a target buyer, but a lot of people find out now about brands, companies, what you do, because of the people that aren't necessarily directly talking about it, but are just having a conversation. I'm so curious. Like, was this a thought, or did this just kind of naturally happen?
Yeah, I love this because so my soapbox thing currently is that you can be in B2B, but the reality is that us B2B marketers, we are selling to people. It's not the brand that's going to buy our products, it's the people that work at the brands that are going to buy our products. So we need to market to them as if they are people because they are. So what I realized a handful of years ago is that as even though we're in B2B, we need to operate as B2C marketers because the reality is we are selling to people. So, like Flip as the robot, it's all silly, it's all fun. The most serious things that Flip ever posts about is like, oh, we're doing this event. Like, see me on a
Yeah.
boat. Super simple, super cut and dry. Like, there's nothing, the Flip is not talking about the product. Flip is this crazy robot that's running around yelling funny things on the internet. But the personal brand, if people are buying from us, people trust people, people love people, so our personal brands have to be the front and center of the brand. And the Flip bot is this delightful thing that you discover once you're like, oh, wait a second. Flip does X. I need X. Oh, wow. Flip is hysterical. That's great. That, like I want to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So the Flip bot is, it's like, it's this thing that comes in later. What happens first is people finding out about you, and then who you work for, what that company does, who you work with, so your customers and how they talk about your brand. All of that is so much more important than, like the company posts.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a firm believer in that not everybody needs to have a personal brand, but
Sure.
if you've got people at your company that have great personal brands, utilize that and give them the autonomy to be themselves online, because if people like them online, they're going to figure out what your company does and they're going to like
Mm-hmm.
you more for it. So
Absolutely.
that's where it all came from.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I mean, I'll throw a little bit in, is personally. I've had this kind of push uh, on my end for quite some time, whether it be me or anyone else. But it's like we have great voices and people that have great stories, and it's like, let's share that. That's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. But there is hesitancy. It's like, why would anyone? You'd be shocked. You'd be surprised. But I've seen, at least on my end, and talking to others, and I don't know how you see it as well, but people brand pages just aren't as effective
Yeah.
anymore. They yes, to some extent, but they just aren't. And what's effective is people. And I can people can easily say like that's because AI now, and we just really desire human connection. That might be part of it, but I think we've always desired human connection, and I think maybe even a little bit more now, more so ever since I think the world was locked down. I
Yeah.
think that really, we were already doing it, but I think it became more prominent for like everyone
Yeah.
because we all meet on little black boxes for the most part now,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think that's where it really kicked off. We can easily pinpoint AI, and there might be a play there for sure, but I think it's more and more about trying to remain connected when things have like just taken off so far. And we get to work remote and stuff. It's fun, but what do we want to do? We still want to talk to people. We still want
Right.
to engage with people. So I feel I'm with you, and I love that you enhance your personal brand, which ultimately does have payoff. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people do miss that for brands,
Yeah.
and that's something people should tap
They
into.
should. They should. And if your brand page on LinkedIn is not getting the kind of traction that you want to see, start injecting that brand personality into the comment sections of the brands and the people that work at those brands that you
Yeah.
want to gain as customers. Like, comment sections on LinkedIn are where the
Oh
action
yeah.
is. And if you're not there and you're just posting on your brand page, like,
How often
you're
on
not
LinkedIn are
gonna,
you
yeah,
like, this person commented or this person liked? You're like, ooh, what happened?
yeah.
We're just like, show me. That is going to show up for people. That's going to happen, and that's that's a very human and easy play,
Hmm.
if you will.
Yeah.
Um, no, I love that. Question for you, I guess one more on the branding side is, if you had to give a piece of advice to marketers with rebranding a company that maybe feels really really stiff or super like legacy heavy, what would that be? Because I feel like maybe we've all encountered this where it's stiff, that's one thing. Legacy heavy, there's a lot that people want to hold on to.
Yeah.
um, what would your advice be?
Yeah, I mean, I think my first piece of advice would be to make sure your executives are fully on board, because a rebrand it can be a really scary thing if you've held on to this legacy ideal. And then once you've got that buy-in, what I would say is sit down with everybody and just say, like, if we were starting from zero, what kind of personality do we want this brand to have, and how does that relate to the product we're trying to sell or the problem we're solving for? And once you have those two things figured out, then the naming process becomes easier, the color selection process becomes easier, the UX of your website becomes easier. All of that becomes easier because okay, what is this overarching ethos that we want to achieve with this rebrand? And it may not be a rebrand, doesn't have to be a full rename, new logo, new color scheme. It can start from something as simple as just changing the language that you use publicly.
I love that you said that, Guy. I feel like that is a misconception. When people hear rebrand, they think the whole gamut, the how we look, and sometimes really it is just like a revisit or retweak of like, what's our voice, what's our tone, like how are we really talking and communicating with others, like kind of to the stiff side. Is it too stiff? Does this
Yeah,
make sense? Does it even resonate with our target persona, our target audiences today? Also, who is that? Do we need to
yeah,
revisit that? Kind of, I think a tendency is it becomes more visual sometimes, where it's really sometimes it's like we just need to really think about like the foundation of everything, and that's where my content nerdiness just goes ham.
yeah. Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, I think about when I think about the brands that are doing things the best, I look at like a Disney or a Coca-Cola, these iconic brands, and what it really comes down to is brand is a feeling. It's your brand is not, the collection of colors and the logo. That's those are your assets, your brand assets. But
Hmm.
if you're really doing brand right, you're creating a feeling. And for, like that could be visuals, but what it really comes down to is it starts with those foundations. It starts with, things like how do you make your customers feel?
Mm,
How do you communicate with your buyers? Who are your buyers and how do you want to make them feel about what it is you do? And, once you take a look at those things and you figure those things out, everything else becomes easier. It's about
yeah.
creating that feeling. Yeah, you can start with the visuals, but the visuals are going to ring hollow if there's not the foundations aren't in place and that feeling and vision is not in place.
I love that you say that. And I feel like a lot of people, and I feel like maybe we've all been there to some extent. It's like, well, we're not a Coca Cola. We're not, like, we can never be that. And hey, that might very well be true. Those are massive global brands.
Yeah,
But to say that it's impossible to evoke a feeling or try to emulate even a smidge of what those global brands do is not impossible. It might feel daunting because you're not comparing correct on the scale, if you will. But what you've done at Flip, I feel like, is very comparable. But I think we tend to, as whether it just be brand individuals, designers, content folk, marketers, we tend to get in our heads a little bit and we're just like, it's fine. So I think if you had to give like someone a gut punch or like a words of what would that be? Just be like, shake them. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I would say like if you're afraid to, you know do the things that are going to be iconic for your brand, the things that are the scale that, we're not all Coca-Colas, we're not all Apples, we're not all Disneys, but that doesn't mean you can't make a lot of noise and give people a feeling and make people laugh
Mhm.
and um, all of the good things that come when you create a brand that people respond to and that resonates with people. If you're having trouble getting there, just go and once a week do something that either makes you uncomfortable or will scare your family. Like just get yourself there, get
Yeah.
yourself out of your bubble, go try a new restaurant, go spontaneously get a tattoo, go, like wear a really kick-ass outfit to the grocery store, like do something that will
Out of
push
the
you
ordinary.
in that
Mhm.
direction of like being a little uncomfortable and feeling yourself in that uncomfortableness, because if
Mhm.
you're willing to take risks with yourself, you're going to be willing to take risks in your work. So,
And yeah, I mean, we A/B
yeah,
test all the time. Why
exactly.
can't? What's the hesitancy in the brand? Like, right? I feel like that tends to
Yep.
be a roadblock for a lot of people. It's like, well, we'll test this messaging or this email layout or format, but like, w- why can't you? Why can't we do it? Maybe it just feels like such a like more daunting or a heavier lift.
Yeah.
Uh, it perhaps, but yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
That's for
I think
sure.
we all have been. We absolutely all have been. And yeah, getting out in the world and doing something that, maybe is a little weird. Um, like try it, just try it, and
Hmm.
it'll make you feel up to taking more risks. I
Sure.
think one of the things that like this is gonna sound so silly, but one of the things that kind of broke me when I was at my not last company, but two companies ago, I was very like in that stuck place, and I my nieces came to visit me, and I was sitting in the car with them, and we were on our way to the zoo, and I just like I just had this bug in my brain that said like just do something weird. Like your nieces love you and they're going to think you're cool regardless of what you
Yeah,
do.
they don't
So
care.
just like throw something out there and let's see what happens. And I said, "Girls, we're going to play the cannibalism game." And they said, "What's the cannibalism game?" And I said, "You're going to give me two different animals and I'm going to tell you if it's cannibalism adjacent or not cannibalism." So it started with like they were both obsessed with dolphins at the time. So what if a dolphin ate another dolphin? Well, that's cannibalism. But what if a dolphin ate a school bus? That's not cannibalism. But if a dolphin eats an orca, that's cannibalism adjacent. So once we got there, once they figured that out, we had created like the greatest car ride game maybe in the history. Like it's so much better than I Spy.
I can only imagine what your nieces are like coming up with too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you put like a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old in a car and say, "Hey, let's play the cannibalism game. Give me two animals and let's go nuts." Like,
And they're both like, what is that? There's
yeah,
so
like
many
what is
things.
cannibalism? And then, of course, you have to educate them on what cannibalism is. And, like to this day, this was, 5 years ago. To this day, we still play the cannibalism game.
That's hilarious.
And last summer, they came to see me. And this is back when I was still living in Salt Lake City. They came to see me, and we were at a mall in suburban Salt Lake. And we were in the food court, and we were playing the cannibalism game, like quietly, like normal people. And and they both stood up on their chairs and they just screamed, "Yay, cannibalism." And it was like, okay, one, I've done my job really well as an aunt. And two, like, yes, this is marketing. Like I've gotten this thing in their brains. They've held on to it. We've created a feeling around this. And now they are in a public place screaming, "Yay, cannibalism." Like this is a brand at work.
I'm laughing on so many levels. I'm laughing as a marketer. I'm laughing as an aunt myself. And I'm also laughing, somewhat cringing as a mom. It's like there's so many levels there where I'm like, and then I'm laughing because I get to be the aunt and do that stuff. And then just the general marketer of like doing something different or bold or just,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be the cannibalism game.
Right,
You
it
just
doesn't
do
have to be
something.
cannibalism at all. It doesn't even have to be cannibalism adjacent, but like do something silly and weird and break yourself out of that bubble that is keeping you tied to the mundane. And like just because
Yeah.
it's marketing and you're at an established brand doesn't mean it has to be boring. Like
And
if you're
B2B
bored,
doesn't have to be boring.
right.
We should just
B2B
shout
doesn't
that.
have to be boring. If you're bored, then your audience is bored. So go do something weird and get out of that headspace. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. And on that point too, I want to, for the brand specifically, Flip is such a unique brand because A, what you've done, but also, correct me if I'm wrong, when you came into Flip, I mean, A, it's always been around, but it's obviously over the past year or two, it's blown up. Were you there at the time or prior? I believe you came in like a little bit prior, yes?
I did. Yeah. I came into the company when nobody was talking about AI. Nobody was talking about AI. So we had this product that was voice AI, but we couldn't call it voice AI because nobody really was thinking about like AI at that point, which is why our website is flipcx.com. People knew what CX was. So, we could talk about automation and they knew what automation meant, but we couldn't really talk about AI. So when AI started to get hot, it was like, this is
Ooh,
great. We already have customers. We already have a product
Yeah.
that's been doing this for a long time. We already know like what this thing is, which means we can just have more fun than literally anybody else. Because, we don't have to prove anything. We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And, we're in a privileged position, but we didn't waste that privilege. We're a bot that yells all over the internet, but we took that privilege and we said, okay, we're going to do something different, and we're going to stand out in this sea of everybody injecting AI into everything. And, there's now an AI for literally any problem you're trying to solve. It doesn't mean that those AIs work and actually solve your problem, but somebody's going to try to sell you on that. So we're kind of just taking an anti position to that. And we are the most human AI brand out there because customer
Yeah.
experience is so human. And yeah, if we were, the cold, hard, cool brand, it just wouldn't resonate with our buyers.
I was just about to even kind of pick on that a little bit of
Mhm.
like being in this AI space, regardless of blow up or not, it's interesting because AI isn't human,
Right.
but you need humans to feed AI. Humans need it, vice versa. So it's kind of like, and it's very interesting that sitting in the customer interaction like space as well. I'm so curious too of like how granular of a level does it get in regards to branding with you? Like, is this something that, you're really working from like call scripting even? Like what is that even like, when you dig deeper there? Because, how many times have we encountered those calls where, hey, look, I get it. It's like, do you really need a person? Sometimes you really do need a person, but sometimes you
Sometimes you
don't.
do. Right. I mean, the reality is sometimes you need a person, and sometimes you're calling because you just want to resolve your issue rapidly. And it may be a really routine issue. Maybe you want to start a return and you just need a link to the return site. Why do you need a human for that? You don't. And I always come back to, and this is, like the thing that when I joined this company, what really stuck out in my brain was peak season and agents having to answer hundreds of where is my order calls between November and December. That's not good for a human's mental health. It's just not.
No.
Like sending out tracking links that people should be able to access in their email, that's not good for anybody's mental health. So when you're putting AI towards solving for that pain, you're solving a human pain. So
Hmm.
it's not only good for the consumers that are calling a brand and saying, hey, where are those sheets that I ordered Brooklyn in? It's also good for the agents because the agent is not sitting there answering that same call every single day for months on end. And call center agents burn out really quickly, and they do that because it's so routine and they're not solving complex problems.
I've been there.
Right. Like I don't want an AI that's doing the complex stuff. I don't want that. I want the AI that solves for the routine things that a human isn't needed for. If a human is bogged down answering where's my order calls, or like can I amend my subscription calls, then they're not able to answer the sales calls. Maybe I
Adding
want
in,
to
yeah.
buy $1,000 worth of sheets and bedding from Brooklyn. Maybe I want to buy, two different cookware sets from Caraway Home. That's a more complex issue. The human should be on that, not answering the where's my order.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking about it from the consumer angle, and I'm thinking about it from the agent angle. And what that really does for the brand that I'm selling to is it automates things, which means we're reducing costs, but then it also means that we're sending the higher value calls directly to an agent, which increases their bottom line. So I'm thinking about it from that angle too. And I even like to go so far where we're hiring enough people that I can start to do silly things, and silly things beyond like the silly things that I've been doing. I want to, as a female, we've all been in this position where, you're at the gym or a bar and some dude you have zero interest in comes up to you and says, hey baby, give me your number. I want to have a phone number for that is just Flip that
Sorry.
answers, and just like this tells them, like it gives them a pickup line, or tells them, hey, don't walk up to strangers, or hey, just be less of a creep, or for callers that are really heated when they call into our brands. I love our brands. I don't want any human to ever have to get yelled at by someone. So if somebody is really heated and they're screaming, send me to an agent, when it's a problem that the AI can solve, I want to just say, okay, we're going to put you to the front of the line and have Flip send them into a guided meditation. And they have to go through the whole guided meditation before they can talk to anybody.
That's
So
funny.
like that's where my head is at for what's next, is let's put in these little Easter eggs that are good for people outside of our buyers. So the
Hmm.
like the give this number to the weird guy at the bar, or like even better for the agents, put somebody in a guided meditation queue. That's where things are headed next, is let's like extend this brand beyond what we're doing right now. Like let's amp up the silliness, let's ratchet things up.
And that is very much the brand you've created. So someone could emulate this in a very different manner. But
Mhm.
essentially what I'm hearing is you just it's a sense of how do I keep adding humanity into the mix when there's such a there's so much automation and tools and maybe even noise, but how do I keep this just humanistic feel, humanity in the
Yeah.
mix consistently? Like, how do I keep that going? And I think that's something, AI or not, any industry can take and extract from. Like, what can I do differently? How can I rethink? This is working really well. What can I maybe remove? Or what can I maybe add? Or how can we shift? Like, just that dynamic, but keeping it connected at the end of the day. Yes, we all have leads, goals, numbers to adhere to, but at the end of the day, what's going to maintain or perhaps, enhance that? I'm curious, what do you think that brands, or most brands maybe, are just getting wrong about brands themselves and content specifically? I feel like I know what you're gonna say, but I would love to hear it from you. What you just feel like people are just getting wrong right now.
Yeah, I think anybody who's doubling down on a playbook that has been used since like 2015, like that's a no. um if you're doubling down on like B2B can be boring and glossy and enterprise, and that's what will help us win, no. People don't want that anymore. And long form content, like nobody wants an ebook, nobody wants to experience gated content anymore. I'm not going to give you my email to get an ebook. Like I'm just not gonna. And your buyer isn't either. So
Yeah, that has
instead of,
definitely been a shift for
yeah,
sure.
like give people, I mean, our attention spans just globally have they've gone to the shitter. Nobody has an attention span anymore. And so why would you continue to hang on to these really big scale content pieces that are long form and have been done for the last 2 decades? Why do that when you can give people bite-sized content?
Yeah. I love what you're
And
saying here too.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it
I
doesn't
feel
have to
like
be perfect. It doesn't have to be old
no.
school. It can just be like, like take that thing that you saw in the Slack channel today that you thought was great and, throw it into Adobe Express or Canva and make something silly with it and ship it. Don't think about it, just ship something and see what happens. People might really vibe with it.
I love that because it's interesting. I was talking to a gentleman, Vincent. He was on CVMIC a bit ago already, and he kind of hit on something very similar too. Whereas, like, I don't know why brands are so like hesitant or resistant to just put the information out there.
Yeah,
Like, you know, he's like, I've never heard of a brand or like people that are just like, I'm not going to engage with. No, they're not engaging with you because you're not giving them, like, at the end of the day, they're still going to need your service. Like, so tell them what you do, how you do it, provide the nuggets, even if it is the secret sauce. They can't do that at the end of the day, and if they can, then maybe you should reevaluate some things. um,
right.
but but more of like, why are we gating, why are we not sharing this information, that one thing. And then two, I actually was saying this to someone the other day, uh, very similar to what you're saying of like attention spans, but also it's like if I'm going to read something long form, I really like it. That is something I'm not like just going to stumble upon. Like, I'm looking for it. I want this. I'm
Right,
intrigued by it.
right.
And for me, that's honestly a fantasy novel most of the time. But but generally speaking, if I'm going to read something, it's something I'm very intrigued or I want to know more about. Like, I'm already there. Um,
Mhm.
Instead of it being put upon me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I agree for sure.
Honestly, like I would love for someone to take their brand and write a young adult fantasy novel with it. Like, it's not right for Flip, but like, I could see Flip doing like a graphic novel kind of thing. It would be so funny to like inject, like I think back to like Pride and Prejudice and zombies, right? It would be like taking like the classic romance novel, but injecting your brand into it. Like, give
Mhm.
if the people want something longer form, give give them that, but do it in a way that is unexpected. Do it in a way that,
Yeah,
I mean, don't gate it, just give it to them.
yeah.
But like, do it like, nobody wants an ebook. Don't give people an ebook, give them a fantasy novel, like of
Maybe
the
not
utopia
exactly,
that
but
if they
give them
get your
something.
product, like the utopia that getting your product will create,
Absolutely.
and put Fabio on the cover, like easy,
He tends to market very well. Oh, I love that. And I guess I'm looking, we're kind of running on time here, but one last question for you. And this might sound like a very just generalized question, but I have to ask it. Just you and all you've accomplished in regards to brand and like being able to connect with audiences through something just so different, unique. Uh, what what do you think, or what do you see potentially as the next big shift in how brands will connect with audiences?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, my big hope is that brands start to connect with their customers beyond how they can improve the bottom line. Don't just look at the people buying your product as cash cows. Create a real relationship with them. I was lucky enough to be in LA last week, and I got to see a bunch of our customers and even former customers, and I love these people like they are family. I see them, I give them a great big hug. We have inside jokes. We know each other, and we are friends first and work buddies second. And I think that's really where things are headed. The brands that are going to get ahead are the ones that create that real human connection, and it takes it all the way back to like making people feel something, making people have
Hmm.
that human connection within your brand efforts. Like
Hmm.
that extends to your customer experience. Like brand is everything. Brand is everything. Disney does this really well. Every single touch point with Disney is a branded experience, even down to like the cleanup people at Disneyland. They are on brand. Everybody at Disneyland is on brand,
Yeah.
except for the little kid that's crying in the corner because they didn't get the right hug from Cinderella. But they are upset because they didn't get that hug from Cinderella that they needed. That's what you've got to do. You've got to look at brand as a holistic thing, and it's got to be injected into not just like the public facing brand, but how you make your customers feel, how you make your partners feel, how you make the people that are not your customers yet feel,
Yeah.
how you make your vendors feel.
You know, I like mic drop. I love that you're saying this because I feel like people think brand is so much like our brand team, our marketing team, our create. They handle that. Brand
No,
is
it's everything.
fluid. I love that you're saying that because I think a lot of people miss this, and I think it hits, and so brand starts pretty much wherever someone's interaction, and that could be very much an initial sales call.
Yeah,
Like what is that interaction in like with that individual? Am I building a relationship? Am I resonating, or do I just feel like I'm just trying to be sold something? Like there's no,
right.
it starts even from there. I love that you're saying that because I feel like that is a misconception internally at a lot of companies, at a lot of brands, that is not fully adopted or understood. And I think that's a great hope is that it can start in like every department in every little capacity to kind of start understanding that we're all actually a part of the brand and we're
Yeah,
working on the brand at
yep,
various levels and we all have different expertise. But you're right, that person cleaning up, that sales individual, that marketing leader, that customer support individual, they are part of the brand. It's all
they are.
intertwined. So I
Yep.
love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that needed to be heard for sure. I think, and to leave it there as well, I'd love for you to kind of just share where people can find you, where they can engage with you, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. That's where I am yelling as both myself and Flip. If you find me on Instagram, Instagram is where I get really weird. And if you find me on Instagram, I will send you weird things. And I'm in Portland, Oregon. So if you're also in Portland, Oregon or near Portland, Oregon and want to, like, I don't know, go to a street festival or a UFO festival or, just a fun new restaurant, hit me up. Let me know. Let's hang out.
Awesome. Well, you know where to find Kristina. Kristina, it was a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and I hope
Thank
to
you
hear
for
from you
having
soon.
me. Yeah.
Big thanks to Kristina for joining us. We covered a lot, from rebranding with boldness to building a community on LinkedIn to keeping humanity at the core of brand and content. The takeaway? If you're bored with your brand, your audience is too. And if you're looking for a partner to help scale content with creativity, you know where to find us at clearvoice.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the CVMIC.